All right, it's a little after 3 o'clock, so we're going to get started. I am Miss Heidi. I'm one of the children's librarians for Santa Clara County Library District. Usually I'm at the Milpitas Library, and I'm really excited to get to do Zentangling with you today. So some of you are here on Zoom, and some of you are watching on Facebook Live. And I have our supply list on the screen, so you can grab those and get ready to get started. You've probably noticed that if you're on Zoom, you are not able to talk, you're on mute, and your video's off, and there is no chat. That is because we are in a webinar. If you have any questions, though, you can type them into the Q&A box, and I will try to answer them. It looks like Madhu has a question about whether a green piece of hard paper is okay. Yeah, that should be fine. And then if you have a fine tip, an ultra fine tip marker, that's the best kind of pen to use. So today we're going to be doing some Zentangles, and I have a couple of the other librarians here with me today. I have Miss Diana, and she's going to be answering any of your questions on Facebook. There's Miss Diana. And I also have Miss Diane, who is the one who will be teaching you how to do Zentangles.
There we go.
There is Miss Diane.
And then maybe reintroduce Miss Diana.
Yes, so there's Miss Diane. She's going to be teaching us how to do the Zentangles. And then let me reintroduce Miss Diana, who is going to be on Facebook answering your questions. Once again, I'm Miss Heidi. I am one of the children's librarians for Santa Clara County Library District. Usually I work at the Milpitas Library, and today we are doing Zentangles. So as I said before, we have Miss Diana, who will be moderating our comments on Facebook. There's Miss Diana. And there's Miss Diane, who will be teaching you how to make the Zentangles. So you've probably noticed you're on mute and you don't have chat function and you can't turn on your video if you're on Zoom, and that is totally normal because we are in a webinar. So if you have any questions, go ahead and type them into the Q&A. We already have a few about supplies. If all you have is a fine point Sharpie and not an ultra fine Sharpie, that's okay. Ultra fine tip Sharpies are the best, but if you don't have it, just work with what you have. Ellen, Miss Diane is going to explain Zentangles in just a minute. And we're going to use the scratch paper for working on the Zentangles. And cardstock paper is a little bit thicker. It's a thicker weight of paper, so if you have anything that's a little heavier than printer paper, that would be great. And if you don't have the ultra fine tip pen, just work with what you have. All right, I'm gonna get our slideshow started. So, has anyone ever tried Zentangles before? I have a pull up and you can answer this. Let us know if you've ever tried them. I'll give you about 20 more seconds to answer. Looks like 64% of you are saying it's your first time learning or attempting to create them. And then we have about 15% that have already done them and 24% that have heard of them, but this will be the first time they're creating them. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get our Zentangles going with Miss Diane. And feel free to type those questions into the Q&A as you have them.
And some of those questions will be answered now as we get started, so just be patient. Hi, I'm Miss Diane from the Milpitas Library, Santa Clara County Library, and welcome to our summer art program. Today I'm going to share with you all about Zentangles. You're probably wondering what Zentangling is, and I'm going to show you some examples and show you how to do it, and hopefully and show you the tools that you're going to need, and hopefully we'll have some fun. So I wanted to tell you how I first learned about Zentangles. I was doing a program at the library, and a fifth grader was doing his own Zentangling, but I had never seen it before. So I learned about this from somebody who came into the library and he learned how to Zentangle from his teacher, and it really inspired me to learn more about it. And we've had a couple of programs at the Milpitas Library learning how to do it, but I'm going to share with you today. So Zentangling is basically some patterned doodling. It can be done in different spaces, but it sort of has a specific technique to it. And you can use different, here's an example of a black and white Zentangling, which is my favorite way to do it, but you could also add color if you wanted. I think I have an example of one that's color. Oh, maybe I don't. Okay, well, I'll show you one later. But you can do different shapes, and we're going to talk about that in just a second. I was inspired to actually start my own Zentangle journal after I learned how to do it, and so here's an example of one of mine. You can see how spaces are broken up, and you create these different patterns within. I will talk to you about here's one that's I use different colors. I don't know if you can see the different colors in there. There's another one. So what I want to tell you, though, is there's a certain pen that you should use. And actually, this is not, what I've used in my journal is not the ideal, because the paper is not of cardstock weight, and it is better to have something that has a thicker weight. But you can see with just a pen, it got smudgy and a little messy, so using just like a ballpoint pen was not a good look. So let me talk to you about the pens that are the best to work with here. So ideally in Zentangle world, a micron pen is great, but today I don't have a micron pen, so I'm going to talk to you about Sharpies, because that's what I'm going to use. So this is a fine point Sharpie, and this is what the tip looks like, if you can see that. And this one's too thick. I do not recommend using that. So if that's what you have, no. And then there's one that's an extra fine point, and that tip looks like this. And I don't recommend that one either. But the one, it's kind of like the Three Bears. The one that I do recommend is the ultra fine point, and that tip looks like this. Okay, so that's ideally the pen to use, unless you have a micron pen, which is really great too. The other piece of material that you're going to need is a pencil, easy enough, and paper. But not just plain thin regular paper. You want something, like I said, with cardstock weight. Today I'm going to use an artist tile. It's a heavier cardstock and in a square, and that's what I'm going to use to demonstrate. You don't necessarily need to have that, but that's what I will use today. Okay, let's get started with Zentangling. So to start, you want to start and probably end with your pencil, but to begin, what we're going to do is just draw 4 little dots very lightly in each corner of your square, and then you're going to connect those with lines or strings, I think they call them in Zentangle language. And they don't have to be perfect lines. You don't use a ruler. I mean, part of the wonder of this is the free-flowing aspect of it, so that's how we'll start. So now we have a playing field to create our doodles, our patterns. Oh, by the way, these are also like other colors of those ultra fine point pens, so you can work with other colors. Okay, so to begin in our space here, I'm going to just draw a line, and you can draw a line however you like, and then I'm going to shadow that line. So just sort of following the curve or the way that I drew it. And we're going to probably do like 2 or 3 lines here. So I'm going to do another one I'm going to do another one, but if it intersects with the other line that I drew, I'm going to stop and then not cross over and then continue on the other side. So I'll show you what I mean. So I stopped, and then I'm continuing that line down here. And I'm going to give that one a shadow as well. And I think I want to do maybe one more. And I think I'll go this way. Okay, and all right, so this is going to be the different sections where we'll do different patterns of doodles. The first one I want to show you today is, I think this one's my favorite, to tell you the truth. It's called Crescent Moon, and we start, and I think I'll just draw that one in this corner here, and we start that by just drawing a half circle like that on the edge. Oops, I'm going to do the coloring in later. And I'm going to leave some space, and I'm going to draw another one. And I'm going to leave some space, and I'm going to draw another one. Leaving the space in between is important for this one. And I'm going to do that all around the perimeter of this quadrant here. So there we go. Okay. So I went all the way around drawing those half circles, and then the next step is coloring them in. So I'm going to color in each of those half circles that I created. So you can do that too. And the reason this one's one of my favorite patterns is you can really, really see, excuse me, you can really see the pattern progressing with each step in a kind of dramatic way. It's not as dramatic maybe with some of the other patterns, but this one seems to be more dramatic. So I'm almost done coloring my half circles. And once we complete that, what we're going to do is we're going to draw an arch above each one. We're going to leave a little bit of space and then draw an arch like that above each half circle. Sort of looks like a rainbow, right? All the way around. And once you make it all the way around the first one, we're going to do it again. So another arch over each half circle out each moon. And it's good to go all the way around and do them one by one, and you'll see why in just a second, because as this pattern develops, we're going to run out of space to draw the complete half circles. That got a little tight, but that's okay. So I'm starting to run out of room here, and when that happens, we will draw, like I don't have much of a space here, so we'll draw as close to a half circle as we can. Without intersecting, remember? So now I'm starting to run out of space. So they're just partial arches. But the thing I liked about this one is, and I'm just starting it where I can, but the thing that I like about this one is it has a sort of, I don't know, I think it looks sort of three-dimensional in a way. So I'm just continuing to go round and round, drawing those partial shadow circles above each moon. And you could stop here, you could keep going. I'm going to go a little bit further, I think. And you could keep going, but excuse me, I want to color in that center. You don't have to do that, but I just want to. I think it gives it some depth when you do that. And the space got really little, so there it is. Okay. And there is our first pattern Zentangle. It's called Crescent Moon. The next one I want to show you is, it's a pattern with 3 lines, and it looks, I'm going to do it on a scratch piece of paper to give you an idea. So it looks like this. So you draw 3 little lines like that, and then 3 lines in the opposite direction. And 3 this way, and 3 that way, and you create a row like that, and then you create a row next to it that's sort of opposite direction of those 3 lines. Okay, so you get the idea with that pattern. So I'm going to choose that in another one of my quadrants, and I'm going to draw that. Now, these aren't perfect squares, so I'm just going to do the best I can with the space that I have. I think I'm going to do that one. Where will I do that one? I think I'll do it right here. So I'm going to start with the 3 little lines, like that. And 3 lines this way, and just go back and forth. And then the opposite direction in the next row. And this this pattern in Zentangle language is called Kiko. And then as it tapers and you don't have the room, you just do the best you can. So I know I'm going to miss that first section, and I'm going to draw like partial lines or shorter ones when I don't have the room. but I'm going to stay with the same pattern, right? And we're almost done. Here we go. So I filled that space with Kiko. Okay, I think a basic pattern that I think always looks good, it's a nice contrast, is just a grid looking thing. And actually a grid is frequently a base for some of the other patterns, but I sometimes just like the basic grid. So I'm just drawing lines to create sort of a grid, and then lines in the opposite direction. Again, perfection is not needed, but just do it as cleanly as you can. Okay, whoops, I think I'm going to do one more line. All right, and then you just you color in the opposites, or sometimes there's patterns that you can do within each box. In this one, I just want to color them in and create that contrast this way. So the name of this particular pattern is called Knightsbridge. If we had filled it with something else, there are other ones that have different names, but this one's just called Knightsbridge. So this would be a good time to tell you, so this is going to go on for a little while, but that's part of the appeal, I think, of doing Zentangling, because once you have your pattern and that you're working on it, it's kind of peaceful and it's kind of meditative. So when you're doing these on your own, it's really fun to create, and it's kind of calming. So it might be a nice idea if you start your own journal with this. The trick with that is finding something with the right kind of paper weight. In my journal, I was skipping a page in between because the ink tends to bleed through, which is not ideal. It's better if you have a thicker cardstock sort of page to work on. But anyway, it's going to take me some time to finish my Knightsbridge here. I might actually move on to the next pattern and finish this off a little bit later, just so that I can show you another pattern. Okay, so you get the idea. And yeah, not everything is a perfect square in here, but you color in the part of the square. It ends up looking fine. All right, I said I was going to stop, didn't I? All right, let's move on to another pattern, and I'll come back and finish that. Let's see. There's another pattern. So one of my favorite shapes is a spiral. I think it sort of reminds me of how things kind of go round and round in life. And I'm going to do a series of spirals and just fill the space with those spirals. So they can be different sizes. I think I'll make one really big here. And as you reach a point where you might intersect, that's where you sort of stop, pick up your pen, and then you can continue the pattern, or the spiral rather. And I think it's time to make a couple of small ones. So I'm going to fill this whole space with the spirals. Actually, this one has a name, and it's called Printemps, which in French means spring, like the season. But I guess in this case, these sort of do look like springs. They go round and round, right? And we're almost done with this one. I think I can squeeze one more in right here. There we go. So, we have Crescent Moon, Knightsbridge, Printemps, and Kiko. Let's do another one here, and I think I'm going to do just plain old circles. So, but again, they're going to be sort of like the spirals, different sizes, touching each other, but I guess they sort of look like bubbles, don't they? And the name of this one is Tipple. And we're just going to fill our space. Big and small. Just get them in there. Almost done. And there's Tipple. Now there are other patterns that use these as the base, very similar to like the grid when I was talking about how we could have filled the grid with other patterns. By the way, I want to mention to you, if you want to learn more about Zentangling, we've just ordered some new ebooks that you can check out with your library card. So take a look at those Zentangle books to learn more after our demonstration today. Okay, so we basically have one little space left, and I don't know what I want to fill that one with. Let me see. We did Crescent Moon. Oh, you know what? There's another. Okay, let me show you another circle pattern. So I'm going to draw bigger circles because I'm going to draw in these circles, and we'll fill our last space here with that. Okay, so with this one, you're going to draw your circles, and then you're going to put a dot in the middle of each of those circles. And then you're going to draw some little string lines to the edge. Probably like 5 of them, I guess. And you can actually make that dot a little bigger if you want. I think I will. They look like little stars, don't they? And this pattern is called Festoon. This circle's a little too small to get it all in there. Okay. Okay. And that, my friends, is what Zentangling it looks like. I think as I finish this, it will be a little bit of that meditative process I talked about. But I do want to be able to show you when you finish your Zentangle, it's a good idea to sign it, and it is your art. So I'm going to find a space on here to sign mine. I usually like to sign mine with just my initials. So I actually think I'm going to use part of my grid for my signature, but I could do it on the outside part here as well. But in this case, I think I'm just going to sign my initials in the corner here like that and incorporate it into my pattern. And I'm getting a little rushed here to finish it up, but so I'm getting a little messy, I see, going outside my lines. So I hope you like this process of Zentangling, and I hope you want to learn more like I did when I saw that 5th grader in the library using this as his pattern design, or using Zentangling to do for his project. And I think you will learn more if you want to pick up one of the books from the library. The other thing I know you can do is maybe even sign the back, like with your full name and the date. I'm just going to say May 2020 because I'm creating this. You're going to be doing it in June, but I'm creating it now. So anyway, I do have one little space left here, which I could color in or leave blank. I think I'm just going to put a dot in there, and that makes me happy. So there's Zentangling. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you can learn more about it. We do have, like I said, some books in the library that you can check out, and I hope you will. You can... I'm not sure if we have these same books, but I know we have others. You can also create your own journal. I think I showed you, well, let's see, I have some pages to go here. But, oh, I almost forgot. I wanted to show you one more thing. So with your Zentangle, the last step in the process was to use your pencil again. So what you can do, and you don't have to, but you can, is do some light shading. So for example, if I wanted to maybe just in part of my circles very lightly draw on one side of the circles, just a little sort of coloring in, a little shadow with your pencil, with your graphite. I knew I was forgetting something. I wanted to tell you about this. It adds a little depth to your drawings, to your doodles rather. So just very lightly with your pencil, with a very light touch, you're adding a little bit of a shadow, and it just gives it, do you see the difference? It gives it a little little bit of something. And you can do that with any of the patterns. You can test and see what looks good to you. I could probably do it in Knightsbridge, or I could do it in any of these. But I just wanted to give you the example. Maybe a little bit in the spirals. There's a tool, I don't have one, but there is a tool for if you are an artist and you draw, there's a tool that you can use to sort of smudge your graphite that is in your pencil. And I wonder if just a tissue might help. I might be able to just do a tissue to sort of smudge that a little bit. Not sure if you can see that very well, but I did it very, very lightly. Maybe you can see some of the shading in here. It just adds a little bit of depth. I could have done it actually in some of the white space too. Just another idea to add to your technique. Okay. There it is. So, I hope you enjoyed Zentangling, and we hope to see you in the library very soon. Bye. So I hope you all enjoyed Zentangling together today and trying out some of those patterns. I'm really curious about what your favorite patterns are, and we have another poll to ask you about your favorite patterns. It's coming right up. So which Zentangle pattern did you most enjoy? And you can place your vote now. Tipple, Knightsbridge, Crescent Moon, Kiko, or Festoon. And you have just a minute to respond to the poll, and then we'll share the results. And just a few more seconds. So if you want to vote, please vote now. And we're going to end the polling. So it looks like, oh, look at a lot of people like Crescent Moon, like I do, but I actually like all of them. So Kiko made a second place, and all of the others got a little bit of traction too. So thanks for participating in the poll too. I do want to tell you a couple of things.
Lisa, what is your kind of location?
Oh, whoops. Hang on. Sorry about that. So thanks for participating in the poll. I wanted to tell you that there are, if you want to learn more about Zentangles, we just touched on a very few of the patterns. So you can check out one of our ebooks And if you go to our catalog, you can type in Zentangle, and you'll see a few different ebooks, and you can learn more by taking a look at those. So I hope you will check out one of those books, maybe even count it in your summer reading log. I also really wanted to see the Zentangles that you guys create, and I would love it if you would take a picture of your artwork and share it with us on our gallery. So here's a good place to use your scratch paper and write this down. If you write down sccld.org, that's the start of it. So it's Santa Clara County Library District, summer-2020-art-club-gallery. You should see that on your screen as well. And if you Zoomed with us today, the address is in your confirmation email. That if you log into that, you can. There's a little quick form to fill out and share your photo of your Zentangles, and I would love to see them. So I hope you will share your photos with us here. And I think Miss Heidi wanted to tell you a little bit about summer reading.
Yes.
So I'm going to turn it back.
Thanks, Diane. So I did a little Zentangling with Diane's video the other day too. It was very fun. I hope we get to see some of yours in the gallery. I wanted to talk to you about summer reading. It started on June 1st, and you can sign up now. It's not too late. We have a question for you. Let me put up this poll. So have you signed up for the Summer Reading Challenge yet? You can answer that here. And if you're on Facebook, you can write it in the comments for Miss Diana. Give you a few more seconds to vote. Okay, so it looks like we have about 56% of people already registered. So if you haven't yet, go ahead and go to this link here on the screen and you can sign up. What you have to do is read 5 books this summer, and you can log them online before July 31st, and then hopefully in August or sometime later in the year, you will be able to come into the library and grab your prizes. So does anyone have a summer reading goal for the summer? I'm going to put up a poll and you can tell me if you do. How many books are you challenging yourself to read this summer? You can tell Miss Diana on Facebook too. Okay. I'm going to end the polling. Okay, so it looks like there are 44% of people that want to read between 1 and 20, and then we have some 20 to 40 books. That's about 25% of our group, and then we have some really ambitious readers, which I love, that want to read more than 50 books. And that makes up 31% of our group today. Okay, that's great. So make sure you log your books on the website. And then one more really quick announcement. We have another summer art club next week with Miss Keela. and she's going to be making woven baskets. I'm going to try to show you a picture here of the baskets. What you're going to need are some large paper bags. You're going to need a pencil and tape and scissors. There we go. That's the picture of it. And you'll need a ruler too. So come back next week at 3 o'clock. If you've already registered on Zoom, then you'll get a link. I think that it's already full. So you can sign in on Facebook and watch that way on the SCCLD Facebook page next week at 3 o'clock. And it looks like someone has a question about how we will get our books while practicing proper social distancing. So you can read any kind of book. It doesn't have to be a library book. It could be something you have at home. It could be an audiobook. It could be an ebook. So you can check out lots and lots of free ebooks and free e-audiobooks with your library card. And if you don't have one, you can get one on our website for free. It's instant, so you don't even have to come into the library to get that card. We're also going to be starting curbside pickup soon in the next few weeks. So keep checking back on our website to see when that's going to start. And you'll be able to place holds for books, and then we will be bringing you your books to your car so that it'll be very safe for you. Okay. All right. Thank you for joining us today. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye.